making any list of sibling stories that are must read, this one is definitely on the list. Hi, my name is Julie, and welcome to my YouTube channel where I help parents and teachers find the next right book for their 8 to 12-year-old reader. If videos like these are helpful, you can click that subscribe button down below. That way you don't miss out on future videos. And if you like today's book, you can give it a thumbs up. That way I know to find more books like this one. I'd also recommend stopping and exploring the playlist. Those are a great way to find specific book recommendations for your readers. Now, let's talk about today's book. Today's book is called Brother's Keeper by Julie Lee, and this is the story of Sora and her family. They live in North Korea in 1950, and they live with quite an incredible set of rules. So they must wear red, they can't skip communist meetings, they must have a picture of the great leader hung up in their home. They learn not to trust their neighbors and that they're always being watched. And with war coming, Sora's family realizes, you know what, we really need to try to escape out of here. And so they set off for South Korea. And due to a number of different circumstances, Sora and her younger brother Young end up alone. And so this really is the story of Sora and Young's journey from North Korea to South Korea. They are walking through about 300 miles and it's winter. And so it is an incredibly difficult journey filled with a lot of difficulty and heartbreak, and their story is incredibly powerful. There are a few readers who I'd recommend this book for. The first are those who are fans of sibling stories. If you like reading books about the relationships between different siblings, Brother's Keeper definitely needs to be on your list. I would add this to any must-read list of sibling stories. I'd also recommend this book for fans of historical fiction, particularly because I don't think there's a lot of books written about the Korean War, and I think there's a lot of kids that haven't read anything about this war, and so I think this is a great way to introduce that region and that war to kids. The other kind of reader I'd recommend this book to are those who like survival stories. Sora and Young must walk 300 miles in winter from North to South Korea, and so it is an incredible story of survival and the obstacles and difficulties and hardships they face along the way. So I think that kids who are interested in survival stories will be fascinated to hear what it takes to survive during this time. Now, a couple of notes. This book is an incredibly emotional and heartbreaking book, so I'd recommend having tissues nearby, but I also maybe wouldn't recommend it for young middle grade readers, 8 and 9-year-olds. There are going to maybe be some parts in there that are a little difficult for them. I'd also recommend when you read this book, make sure you read all the way to the back. There is an author's note at the end. And since this story is loosely based on the experiences of the author's mother, I think reading the author's note is incredibly valuable and provides a lot of insight into the story and that time in history. So I would encourage you to pick up your copy of Brother's Keeper, and happy reading!